Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero and our pop culture, and that's TV, movies, video games. We talk about news and we speculate, all that good nerdy stuff. I am Mole Poupe, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. Lottie, what's happening, man?
Man, nothing much, man. All things good. Actually, building a PC for my friend's son right now. Actually,
Oh yeah, well, I know you're always on the PC building thing.
hmm
I know where I turn to when I need advice on mine. But yeah, dude, it's been a week. It's been a hell of a week in for superheroes. Obviously, Multiverse of Madness dropped. You know, we had the finale of Moon Knight come out. I mean, it's just been, and then of course, other things are going on. So it's been a huge week for superheroes. And I actually, and before we kind of get into them, I forgot to mention this on the last episode, but also over the weekend, we got unfortunate news in the comics
hmm
industry about the passing of George Perez. So that's following on the heels of the death of Neil Adams. I think he was like 80 something, I believe. But
So,
Neil Adams and George Perez, he was 67. Now we talked about him
mhm.
earlier in the year when we mentioned that he had elected to discontinue his cancer treatment because he had terminal pancreatic cancer, and so kind of wanted to just go out on his own terms without you know all that stuff giving him pain and just that stuff. So we sort of anticipated, but it happened over the weekend, which is funny enough. It was Free Comic Book Day was over this last weekend too. So in a way, somber, but also sort of fitting that a day that celebrates comics, we also would celebrate the passing of George Perez, and
Man,
it's
man,
I
so
I kind of want to draw attention to them both. I'm not sure how familiar you are with them as artists, but I think you have probably seen their work.
hmm
Um, well, the thing to know is that Neil Adams was a towering figure in as an artist and a creator at DC Comics. Uh, he he redesigned Batman post Adam West '60s Batman, and to him, and pretty much the I guess he prototyped, I suppose you could say, the more modern Batman that we actually know today.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I don't remember the name, but as soon as I saw his face, yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
remember him.
he was very instrumental, and also apparently was an awesome guy. Just when I say awesome, like to we always talk about the Marvel must pay, and then like the comics industry's got to pay. They got to be less terrible about how they treat creators and stuff like this. This dude was a leader on that. You know how much of a leader he was? Neil Adams led the charge to get just compensation for the Siegel and Schuster who created Superman. This was in the set. Remember
Yeah,
they created him in the 30s. This is in the
yeah.
70s. So 40 years later, he led the campaign to get DC to pay them. You know, and he was all about creators' rights and all that stuff, and was also a phenomenal artist, absolutely phenomenal artist. And to all my understanding was just an all around good guy. Um, with George Perez, his one of his early claims of fame it was the New Teen Titans. He did a run on the New Teen Titans that pretty much solidified the team that you would know. You know,
Yeah.
Beast Boy, Raven, Starfire, Superboy, and Robin, and his run on it in the '70s and into the '80s was pretty important. And also, he did a run on on Wonder Woman that was also quite well received and very important. So again, two big names in the industry who sadly have, as they say, shuffled off the mortal coil, and we salute them because I always say this. I look at the guys like this. We don't get the MCU or the DCEU without men like and women and
Yeah.
creators like that. Those guys, they were instrumental in the things that we see now. Not
Hmm.
just in the fact that maybe their stories in particular aren't being adapted to screen, but because they inspired the people who would go on to write some stuff that they're highly inspired by things that we eventually get. So I just want to make sure we give them some kudos, give them their flowers, so to speak.
Yeah, they deserve it.
Yep. So rest in power, as we like to say nowadays, and
Yep.
and thanks again for all of the hard work and just the joy that we got from them. So so that's just an off the top thing I wanted to sort of throw in there, but we do have our regular news. We have our news items every week. We round up our news, and we have a lot of things to talk about because superhero. I don't know if you know this. Superheroes are big business, and so there's always stuff going on in the industry, and we do love to talk about those things. So, in particular, this week we're going to talk about uh, Natalie Portman's got the guns. She got some big guns,
Yeah.
showing off in this new photo of her and Chris Hemsworth as Thor and Thor uh, uh, for what is it? Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, Thunder.
So we're gonna check that out. Give our comments
Ah,
on that.
ah, ah.
there's a there's a new 30-second spot for Miss Marvel. It comes out in June. We're going to talk about that and also what Kevin Feige had to say about her power set, and how they changed. David Goyer, he talks about his new podcast, our audio drama, Batman Unburied, and what he thought about Matt Reeves' The Batman. To be some, I'm sure that's plenty of fun to be had there. Guardians 3, it wraps up its filming, its principal photography, and we're going to talk about that and how the cast kind of said their farewell. And then
Hmm.
we're going to do a Moon Knight retrospective. Look back at the show. It's about a week after it dropped its final episode. We're going to talk about the series and what it means and what's going to happen potentially in the future. And finally, we got a whole bunch of stuff about the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2, what it did at the box office, who showed up, who didn't show up. No spoilers, I guarantee you. How Kevin Feige had some input and impact on the way things we saw within the movie. Um, what was the Rotten Tomatoes and the audience score, and then the future of one of the new characters that was in the movie. So lots of stuff to talk about. So Lottie, let's jump right into all of this news.
Geronimo.
So we have been, you and I, we are just like hotly anticipating
Hmm.
Thor 4, aka Thor: Love and Thunder. They released that hilarious and wonderful teaser, and one of the things they did in it, one of the genius moves. Whoever cut that trailer, give them a raise. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, but one of the things I was just like, hell yeah, to the screen when I was watching, was that last little bit with Natalie Portman's Lady Thor catching Mjolnir, just looking like a complete badass, like an absolute, and I just like yes. And so last week they dropped an image, and it shows her, Jane Foster as Lady Thor, and Chris Hemsworth side by side. And let me tell you, J- Natalie Portman put in work. can we can we just say that she went to
Yeah.
she went to work. she
They
got
showed a before and after
yeah.
picture, and I'm like, God dang, she was skinny.
I'm just gonna say this. She got that Michelle Obama arm. She looked like
Yeah,
she hit the G. And I'm looking. She holding Mjolnir, looking like a complete. I mean, just like it's a bad. What a wonder. That's an awesome picture. It's it's so good. Oh man, it's how I don't. Okay, I'm gonna keep saying stuff like that. So, Lottie, what do you think about the picture?
like you said, this woman got guns, man, guns for days. She might actually have to upgrade them from guns to space shuttle destroyers,
Yeah,
because man, those things are big.
she
She
said
got muscular, man.
she said suns out, guns out, because them things are. I mean, she looks like oh my gosh. First of all, Natalie Portman, of course, she's a beautiful woman, obviously, but there is like an Amazonian quality to her. Like I almost want to. Not even gonna, I hate to say this because I do love Wonder Woman. I do love the Wonder Woman movie, and I love the character and everything. But I gotta say, I'm like, you're gonna have to step your game up. The way Natalie Portman went in on this, I mean, she looks like she wields that damn hammer. And I love you know what I love about this. It just means she put in the work. Like I love when in these movies, we know Chris Hemsworth puts in work, right? It's
Yep,
obvious. It's obvious the man puts in work. We knew Chris Evans put in work. And it's really
yep,
nice to see that everyone's committed to this. They're gonna to just look the part, and also the costume is just fucking cool. So, man, I know this whole news item is just us gushing over how badass Natalie Portman looks. So, Lottie, let's do some equal opportunity gushing. Does Chris Hemsworth not look like a fucking boss in this picture? God, I
I'm
mean,
just happy. I'm just happy that when we thought there was a chance that Chris Hemsworth won't be Thor again, he basically put that to rest. And Kevin Feige's like, no, let's get this motherfucker a new contract, because I'm sorry, for the foreseeable future, I do not want to see another Thor that is not Chris Hemsworth. He's just that's him. I just love his character. I love how they brought him back to not being Fat Thor. He's back in shape, and I want to believe it was Drax. I have this scene where it's like Thor walks out, and Drax is like, "Now look at him. He has the body of a god again."
and then of course Star Lord's like, hey, I was working out too. Look, I just drank protein shakes. And they're like, yes, yes, but can you not see that your bicep is merely one fraction of his own bicep? Like, I can
Yeah.
see that, dude. Yeah, no, they just both look badass, and I mean, I don't need more hype for this movie. I don't. Do you need more hype for this movie? Like at all? But I mean,
No.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
No.
I'll take it on this one. I can't wait to see more. We have a real trailer coming out in not too long because I think this movie's out in a couple months.
Yep.
So I'm certain we'll be seeing a new trailer anytime in the next month. So we'll look forward to that. All right. So moving on, we do have yet more preview stuff going on. Miss Marvel again, my most anticipated Marvel thing all year. Yes, that's right. Including Black Panther, which I love, right? Including Multiverse of Madness, which I just saw, and I liked the hell out of that one. Including She-Hulk. There's all the stuff towards the end of the year, Thor, everything. I still Miss Marvel is my most anticipated Marvel thing this year, and so we got a new 30-second spot that let me just say just kept me on that same high. I really want this show like immediately, and it is in fact coming out at the start of June. So, Lottie, you got to see this spot. What did you think about it?
Answer one of my biggest questions, that her powers. I was a little bit reserved on her getting cosmic powers. So I was like, I don't know about that. But now that I'm seeing that she's basically getting them from, I guess, an item, sort of like what Shang-Chi has with the 10 rings, completely down for it. Love it. I cannot wait to see what they do with this. Because basically, this is in my opinion, even though this is her own show, it almost now seems like it's going to be a little bit of an expansion of what's it called, Shang-Chi, because she's from the Middle East, right?
What
She's
she's
Pakistani.
yeah, she's from Pakistan. It's not really Middle
Okay,
East, but it's considered Asian, really. But
okay, because I was going to say if she was from India, because in India,
it's close,
they
very close. It's I mean,
they
Pakistan
pretty
and India
much
are
believe,
right. They're right next to each other. But yeah.
because in their belief system, gods are pretty much heroes. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Right.
So like they actually have comic books of their gods in the Hindu religion, and it will be something that I'll be like, God, does these like items are something that existed since the dawn of time, and it was like, I mean, well, since the dawn of humanity, and these original people who had them were the gods of these cultures. I was like, it's just adding on to this. Immediately, what I thought when she put on that wrist, immediately what came to my mind.
Right. Yeah. I think this is actually first of all, I like the spot a lot. It's pretty much everything I want. I can tell that this is going to be a more. I do believe it's a PG rating. It's not PG-13, and which I'm down for. I think we talked about that before. I'm down for that.
Yeah,
This is a kid who's just not just coming of age, and coming of age as a first generation Pakistani kid, and you got parental expectations and everything, and societal pressure, but also stands the hell out of the Avengers, loves Captain Marvel, and finds herself with the power to be a superhero. And what does she do with that? I'm just super excited about that. I love the way everything looked in here. we
yeah,
saw we saw a little bit about forget the name of the character, but there's a little ninja looking character that you saw very briefly. You saw her jumping around and using her powers, and her best friend, sort of supporting her. So this has all the hallmarks of I don't want to say a Disney Channel like TV show, but like sort of a Disney Channel movie, but like with an MCU flair and quality, and that's not a bad thing to me. I think that's one, and we'll talk about this later with Moon Knight. Moon Knight is very much an adult Marvel show,
yeah.
and this would be very much more for younger oriented, and I want that.
And they need no. I
Yes,
won't even say want that. They need that. I
yes,
feel like Marvel can't, and this is gonna go a little bit later on. Marvel just can't be pew 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 explosions, couple of sex jokes here and there all the dang time. It's time for them to mature, and at the same time find a way to make things funny without having adult like humor. You
right,
know what I mean?
or
They
just
need
yeah,
to evolve.
or just in general cater to multiple audiences.
Yeah.
Pixar does the great thing of they can appeal to everybody, right?
Yep.
They don't have to just oh, we're only going to make an adult thing or only going to make a kid thing. No, they can do a little bit of both, and I believe in the storytelling power and the storytelling ability of the people at Marvel. So I really want this to be that, one of those forays into more younger oriented, but still for everyone, uh, you know, storytelling. And I hope
Hmm.
that's what that is that we get from here. So that being said, can you believe well, actually, I know you can believe this because nerds, right?
Yep.
People bitching about her powers. You were mentioning them before because I know her powers are stretchy powers from the video game. And then this one, it doesn't quite seem that doesn't quite to be seem to be what it is, right? And
Yep.
it doesn't seem like it's you're bumping too hard up against it. But nerds on the internet, right? Just mad about or complaining or whatever, uh, about her powers not being the exact same ones. Um, To which I say, God dang it, nerd. This is why we got beat up when, when we were younger.
I mean,
This is
honestly,
why. Y'all, come on. Hey,
I mean, honestly, I think it's better that she isn't a rubber band person because one thing I think they're thinking ahead because they want Mr. Fantastic to show up eventually, and two, mainly it's because of Mr. Fantastic. You don't want to have two characters of the same damn powers showing up in the show. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
It will get kind of stale,
yeah,
especially in her first showing. So
right.
I'm kind of happy that they're giving her sort of like a cosmic type thing.
Yeah, and really, Kevin Feige, what he was asked about, he was talking about it. He's like, yeah, look, when she got her powers in the comics, they were at a certain place and a certain time within there that not really the same as where we are in the MCU. So her powers got kind of updated and adapted to, sort of stay true to that, but also to expand it or give it a little bit more. And in this case, um, I think they're showing she will have something that could be like the embiggening, but also it's a little more like, uh, I don't even want to say Green Lantern ish. Maybe a little bit of both or a combination therein, and that she doesn't get it from being inhuman. She gets it from these bracelets or whatever it is that they're showing. To me, that's
Yep.
fine. Like nerds for real. Like stop. Just stop. Like let them tell the story first, and then decide whether or not it's trash. Like don't decide it's trash before you even seen 1 minute of it. That's that's a big problem with internet fandom though. Nerds on the internet just be doing the most with the least, and by that I mean they do the most with the least amount of brain cells apparently. Because like, how do you know this? That people have you seen these people? They're like, oh, it looks mid. I'm like, bitch,
Yeah.
what the fuck do you know? Yeah, like, what do you know about what's mid before you even see it? Like, it's just a bunch of like trolling ass bullshit. But it's this annoys me. Like, guys, stop it. Like, wait until the shit comes out before you make a decision about something. Because
Yeah.
I swear, people was talking that shit about Peacemaker before it came out. And
And
then
now,
yeah,
everybody's listening to the song "House of Pain,"
hmm
like skyrocketed on iTunes and all these things after that episode came out. Yeah, but the show is mid.
yeah,
Huh?
just try people nerds. That's why we got beat up.
Yep.
Y'all lucky y'all anonymous. So y'all were if y'all were at the lunch, if y'all at the table in the lunchroom talking that shit, straight wedgies for days. So and you deserve it. So anyway, Miss Marvel, love the spot. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to talk about it some more. That's coming up in about a month. Um, there's a new Batman stalking the streets of Gotham, or in this case, stalking the Spotify playlists. I don't know. Do you listen to audio dramas, Lottie, or any kind of like audio drama podcast or anything like that?
Honestly, no, but I do want. I've downloaded a couple, but I just haven't had the time to listen to them. I'm probably going to start soon with my new job.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is a great one to get started on. It's called Batman Unburied. This let me say this is a big deal. Like in the pandemic has kind of really I don't know if you know this. It really accelerated podcasting in general, which was
Yeah.
already is a thing before, and people having YouTube channels like this one or podcasts like this one. But there's been a lot of celebrities getting in on it. There's it's I think it's just a cheaper form of entertainment. Like it's just people talking, or this case, it's a scripted stories, kind of like radio dramas or whatever that back 100 years ago people used to listen to, or I guess maybe like 80 or 90 years ago people used to listen to when there was no TV, and so this is free on Spotify, and it's a big deal production. I think stars
Hmm.
Winston Duke, and we talked about this before about Winston Duke being Batman. And it's got more people. Jason Isaacs is on there. It's in the cast. Lance Reddick plays Thomas Wayne. So there's a bunch of names in the cast that are pretty cool. And it dropped the first 2 episodes over last week. And if you want to check out my review of it, I do have it on the channel, Batman Unburied 1 and 2 review. My thoughts on it. I think it's pretty good, honestly. And I listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts, so it's right up my alley. But David Goyer, he's the creator behind this, of this show, or this audio drama. And David Goyer,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you recognize his name, maybe you don't. If you don't recognize his name, just know he did the writing on the Dark Knight trilogy, and he also wrote the first Blade movie. And let me just say, there's a ton of stuff he's read. He co-wrote the script for the first Wonder Woman. Like he's done a lot of stuff, and he's a lot of nerd stuff. I think he directed a movie. He directed Blade 3. We don't talk about that, but he did direct it, and I think he wrote it. So, guy knows what the hell he's talking about. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
So he was talking about Batman Unburied and the creative process and all that, the story and good stuff. Check that article out if you'd like to hear what he has to say about that. But what we want to talk about is he went and saw the Batman. Now, Ladi, you love the Batman, right?
Yes.
That's
You loved it.
yeah. No, I say you. I know you love the Batman. David Goyer does too, apparently. So a lot. Do you ever see people ask people, and they're fishing for some juice, some tea,
Mm-hmm.
fishing around for some juicy gossip, fishing around for some negative talk or whatever. And David Goyer gave none of that. He said that he really enjoyed it. He liked Matt Reeves' look at the Batman, and he liked Pattinson a lot. And so there you go. All you Snyder stands. I know I keep calling y'all's fucking names, but all you Snyder stands. A dude who knows what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to Batman was like, hell yeah, this is the jam. And did it in a professional way. Ladi, somebody just co-signed what you had to say about it, and he's kind of a big deal when it comes to Batman. What do you think?
I mean, sometimes these Snyder stands need to just understand that they're wrong. I mean, they are wrong. If you watched that Batman movie and you claim to be a Batman fan, and I'm not talking about a Zoomer Batman fan, because I'm just gonna be honest, guys. If you are a Zoomer and you don't like this movie, that's fine. But to us older generation, the people who grew up watching Batman in the 90s and the 80s, who watched the Batman original, the 90s cartoon, Batman is a detective in a dark, dank city that is full of crime, and he doesn't truly know how to stop it. He's not this unstoppable ninja just going around beating up people without being touched.
Yeah,
And
at least not early on in his career.
yeah. And it's just, I love what they did with this story, because it's adding more. And to be 100% honest, I feel Marvel should start doing more of this. I really think that there's characters in Marvel that I want them to start giving this type of treatment, because this is the second movie DC's done like this. The first one was the Joker, and now the Batman. I want to see a Marvel movie like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I think it was interesting to just kind of hear someone who clearly knows the character, knows how to tell a good story, and also can just maybe some other people should take a a leaf out of his playbook when it comes to talking about the work of other people, and just not just being being diplomatic if you don't necessarily have good things to say, but in this case, if you appreciate something, just really like giving a shout out. There's I don't think there's anything wrong with just being like, that's cool. I like that's a cool thing. uh, from one creator to another, this guy or this woman had a great look at this thing that they did some. In fact, he even said he's like they did something I never even occurred to me to do when it came to telling the story of Batman. Doing voiceovers and sort of like narrating his experience, because most of the time you don't ever get to really hear what Batman's thinking. You only get to see how he's reacting. And so from a creative standpoint, a person that knows Batman to still get something new out of it, I mean, I think that's interesting. I also just he's co-signing it, so maybe y'all chill out. What you're saying how terrible it is, terrible a Batman is. Maybe for you, but the numbers don't lie. And also, people who know Batman seem to have a pretty good take on it. So, but you guys check out Batman Unburied. I think you'll really get something cool out of it. It's free on Spotify, and I think they're 30-minute episodes. So I think you'll get something really cool out of it. All right. So moving on, we got Guardians 3, the much anticipated and long awaited Guardians of the Galaxy 3, has wrapped filming. I follow James Gunn on Twitter, so I saw this immediately. They talked about wrapping up, and in fact, just been following his his updates, which he's not really talking about what was going on, just like, hey, we're still on set and they're doing this or that or whatever. There was a good picture. I don't know if you saw this picture that they took, because different characters in the movie wrapped their filming early, like Pom Clementi. I think I'm saying her name right. She plays Mantis, so she wrapped like a week or two ago. So there's several people who wrapped already because their characters didn't have as much screen time. But at the end of the final week, they had a picture of James Gunn kind of sitting around on the couch with like Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana and Dave Bautista, and just kind of you get the feeling like these guys are like family, you know what I'm saying? Like Vin Diesel family, like that. But like for real, just seeing them all sit, and I have to be honest, it kind of hit me. I don't know if you saw the picture, but it kind of hit me like this is the end of an era. That like literally, that group is not going to be back in a movie together. Like they're done. Like Dave Bautista he's like, he even said like, yeah, that's it for me for Drax, right? And I'm not gonna lie, it kind of hit me. I'm less like, because I've been living with these characters for a while, and I love the Guardians.
Yeah.
And just kind of seeing that, it was a little bittersweet, I think, to know that this is we're coming to the end of the Guardians journey. So I don't know, Ladi, I don't know if you got to see those pictures, but how do you feel about like that the wrapping of the film and like kind of this farewell, if you will, to the Guardians as we know them now?
That's crazy, man. That's crazy that this is the end. And it feels like it just started,
Yeah.
One of the most freshest thing in the MCU is, coming to an end. But I understand it's hard. It's hard to make a movie with 5 to 6 main characters. It is hard. You know what I mean? I can just imagine what they have to go through, because each and every one of these people have a movie that they're doing as well too. And it has to be a scheduling nightmare. That's why it takes so long for each movie to come out.
Yeah.
So it's
And
unfortunate,
mhm.
but uh,
I I just I feel like I said bittersweet because I see
yeah,
this picture and I just think like, first of all, y'all look like y'all have a great time on set. Second of all, it's like it's like looking at pictures from the graduation. Y'all know like, hey, we're not going to be here again, and so it kind of hurts a little bit, but also I'm just happy that we got it. I'm
yeah,
just happy that I'm happy that that group of people was able to make a something that makes me so happy, and that they had a great
mhm,
time doing it. And it's going to be something like 20 years from now. You're just going to be like, man, that was, that was the time. Um, and
yeah,
I kind of love, and now I've grown. I don't know about you. I've grown to really love James Gunn as just a creator over the past couple years. The more I see of him and the people that he works with, I'm just like, this dude's special. He brings together people for these projects, and he just puts his heart and his soul into it, and it kind of shows, and it shows on the screen and in what we get.
yeah.
And so I'm, while it's a little sad, but also it's exciting to see where all of these people are going. Because I don't know about you, before Guardians didn't know anything about Dave Bautista except he used to wrestle. Now I'll look at anything he's in, you know. And Chris Pratt, I didn't really know him. Now I do. All these people, and I'm happy that they're finding success
Yeah.
elsewhere.
You actually said a mouthful because only two people on this set as actors that I knew their name was Zoe Saldana because of course Avatar and um Bradley Cooper, who you don't even see his face. He's just a voice actor.
Right.
you know,
And of course
it's
Vin Diesel,
crazy.
but
Y-
yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't get to really have set photos because they don't show up for anything. They just do voices.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they've wrapped filming, and I expect we'll see a lot more stuff. And I think they're going to do reshoots. So I don't think this is the last time they're going to be together, but officially, this is the last time. So cool, and I can't wait to see more and eventually see that trailer that's going to be coming out. They got a lot of work to do with CGI and all that stuff. So we will report more when we hear some more. Well, Lottie, um, last week we got episode 6, the season finale of Moon Knight, right? Um, and so we were doing reviews of Moon Knight separately, but I thought it'd be a good idea if we would kind of do a series, I guess season or series retrospective on the 6th episode, like uh, limited series, all about the Fist of Khonshu, Mark Spector, a man of many talents and also many personalities, apparently. This is a show that is kind of doing a lot of it's doing a lot more than most shows in the MCU ever do. Presenting a hero that isn't just as complex in like some of the most difficult to explain ways, in the sense that he has dissociative personality disorder, and they're trying to play it straight and show you exactly what that means. But also, there's Egyptian gods and magic and a dude with a plan to kill half or more of the people on Earth, and
Yep.
and deities and everything like that. So it's there's the MCU to think about, um, but also it's really a story about a broken dude with some difficulties and not really quite understanding what's going on while also dealing with his mental fragility. So it's overall, I think we just in general I liked it, but
Mhm.
Lottie, I mean, in a nutshell, like to you, what stands out about this show?
Ooh,
Let's-
man. this show hits me in different ways because it's showing a man who has to dealing with one of the most, you know, worst traumas you can, deal with, being beaten by the person that everyone that says will love you no matter what, but she didn't love him, and she probably never loved him. And the more and more I think about it, I think she's always been abusive. It's just now she's, instead of abusing the father, because what this seems like from what everyone was talking about, like, oh, how come the father doesn't leave the wife? I said this is the perfect example of an abusive relationship. He's been abused by her, but now that he has kids, the abuse went away. But when the abuse came back, it's not going towards him. It's now going towards the kid, you know?
Mm.
And it's unfortunate that he created these personalities, one personality to keep, because Steven was created so he could still love his mother.
Right.
She was created so he could still love his mother. Jake was created so that he could fight back against his mother. A personality that won't take shit from no one, and of course they're probably going to go into that more into season 2.
Right.
But
Well, and that's funny. Are they having a season 2?
oh yeah, they're having a season 2. It's happening. It's happening. Or if they're not having a season 2, it's going to be a movie. Kevin Feige ain't stupid, man. He sees them dollar signs. But
Yeah.
I like this show. I like the show. I felt like the last episode was rushed. Was definitely rushed. I feel like this show deserved 2 more episodes. I felt like there wasn't, in my opinion, enough closure for Steven. Because Steven is going through trauma himself as well. That, a lot of people, like I talked to this about, they're like, well, Steven's is happy go lucky. This man just found out that he's not the original. His mom is an absolute piece of shit. He's based off a TV show and a brother that died drowning. That's a lot to unpack. And just to be okay in just a few minutes, nah, I don't buy that shit.
And also, he
You know
doesn't
what I
he
mean?
doesn't seem to get the girl either. So,
Yeah.
speaking of, um, I think Layla El Fuli, played by May Kalamawi, is the best thing that's about this entire show. And fight me on it if y'all want to. She's the best thing about the whole show. Um, yeah, okay, yes, she's a beautiful woman, but that there's plenty of those in the MCU. She is a she's a flipping superhero before she gets any powers. She's just there's something about her personality. She's so take charge and matter of fact. She gets to it, right? She is everything you like about what's her name from Tomb Raider, for Lara Croft. She's
Mm.
that, but without all of the problematic, colonizer sort of thoughts going on. She's Egyptian, and she's her
Mm-hmm.
her dad's an Egyptologist,
Yep.
and she's trying to find out who killed her dad, and she loves Mark, but he's sort of crazy, and she doesn't know that. And now that she does know it, she's such a magnetic and attractive person, um, personally, not just by looks, but as a person, that Mark's alternate self, Steven, falls for her, and presumably Jake does also, right? And she's has such a flexibility of mind that she accepts that he is a broken person, and that when she's talking to Steven, that he's not the same person as Mark, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a pretty excellent bit of acting that May Kalamawi does, where she's talking to Mark, and then Steven sort of takes over, and the way she reacts to him is entirely different than how she reacts. There's history between her and Mark, but Steven's a new thing, and even though they have the same face, the way she looks at him and reacts to him isn't the same. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about right there. How can you not love that? Besides the fact that she gets a grade A power up at the end and goes ham like as a an avatar of Taweret, and
Hmm.
just kicks ass, and and it's just a superhero for people that look like her to see. I love it. And there,
Yeah.
excuse me. And
Well deserved.
yeah, no,
Well deserved.
she's awesome, and I loved her in this entire show. Also, Ethan Hawke is just like he's just on his fucking game as the bad guy in this as Arthur Harrow. That guy is like you can tell that why he's an A-list act. He's a great actor. Just he brings weird like it's a menace, but it's like
Hmm.
he's such a gentle cult leader. Like I'm doing this for your own good, and when I kill you, like
Uh,
it's there's
I
something
just
like there's something a little terrifying about that.
I just wonder how much salty food he had to eat before coming to the set to have that raspy voice,
Yeah,
that raspy evil voice. Because sometimes hearing him, I'm like, does that not hurt his throat?
yeah.
I'm not doing this for you.
he sounded
I'm doing this for me.
he sounded like he and Christian Bale were like gargling the same like. uh, but no, there's the MCU keeps producing these bad guys that are like, if you listen to them a certain way, you're like, I guess that makes sense. I mean, his whole thing is, let's just prevent terrible things from happening by killing everyone who's probably going to do something bad in the future. And you're just like, oh, worldwide peace does sound good. And I'm just like, but he's literally killed. Like, even Thanos would look at you like, that's fucked up, yo. Like,
Yeah, it's fucked up,
I was
bro.
talking about impartiality. You're talking about future thought crime. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Get your
Uh,
thought crime.
like you potentially like in the grand scheme of things, like I feel like he who remains should show up and be like, I call people from the timeline, but they actually have to do things first before get rid of them. Like you're not even letting the multiverse play itself out. So,
Yeah.
um, but he's very committed. I give them that much. I would have, if I were him though, I would have been like, Ahmet, seriously, can I get a cool ass suit? Like why I gotta fight in my regular like little cult cult leader jumpsuit
That
and
is something that I do have to say. That is one of the things that I didn't like about the final episode. It would have felt more. It's like you said. It's like fighting an old preacher and a giant alligator. I'm like,
yeah
uh, they could have made it where he got himself a suit. You
or
know what I
something yeah
mean?
something. He's just like I got my cane. That's all I need. Um,
Yes,
I
yes.
did. There's another aspect of I really liked is that um, for the most part, the first few episodes play it straight. They're like, okay, he's got multiple personalities or whatever. Um, and there's this cult's going on, and this all this stuff is happening. We got to get to the tomb, and Layla. We need to stop him from doing his plan. He's gonna kill people. It's all very played very straight early on. And then we get to the episode, the asylum, where you're just like, wait a minute, was everything we just saw bullshit? Was that all in his mind? And you see Harrow as like a psychiatrist, and he's in this like
Mhm.
this institution. You're just like, wait a minute, are y'all really telling me this is all fake? Like
Yeah.
everything was fake, and he's just crazy. And I like the fact that they actually decided to try to play that on us. Um, it did I don't they don't stick with it very long, but I did like that they did that. There's there's a lot of good to be had in this show. I think it's betrayed a little bit by a very typical by the numbers finale, but episode 5 where there's he goes through memories. He and Mark and Steven go through their memories. Is
Hmm.
probably it's definitely I think the best episode of a Marvel TV show thus far. And I would go on to say it's one of the better, it's in terms of Marvel output, it's one of the best things that they've ever done in
Hmm.
in any movie or TV show. Um, Oscar Isaac absolutely is doing all that he's doing. As I kept saying, heavy lifting. He is acting his ass off in this show, in particular in that episode. And my God, if we don't get more of him as Moon Knight, Kevin Feige, you have lost your touch.
Yep.
Just because if you can't get Oscar Isaac to say yes to more Moon Knight, you've lost your touch. So I'm hoping we'll see more. We're gonna find out. There's no word yet, but I mean, come on, why wouldn't they?
Hmm.
It'll be a huge letdown if they don't. So get on that, Kevin Feige. We're watching. So anyway, good on them for that season. Hoping to see more in the future. All right, so I guess we could figure this is our main topic. It's the biggest damn thing going on in superhero stuff in pop culture right now. Um, that is Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2, if you will. Something we've talked about extensively on this show because, we can't avoid all the trailers and whatnot. We've been covering those left and right, speculation, all that stuff. The multiverse being open had all sorts of possibilities for cameos, especially when what we saw in No Way Home with the Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield and Toby Spider-Man coming over, as well as some of the previous bad guys. And so we were expecting like, ooh, who's going to be in this? What's going to be in this? All that stuff. We've been talking about it for months. So finally came out. Me and Jen, we went and saw it, and I've got a review primed. I just need to edit and put it up, but it's going to be up soon. Talking about the movie. So just spoilers for my thoughts in that video. I liked it. I liked it a good deal. Jennifer, she loved it more than I did. But I'll explain that in the review. But just I liked it a lot. Did not love it, but I did like it quite a bit. A lot of some unexpected things, some things I knew were going to happen, and it's remarkably actually did turn out to be a horror movie of sorts. Not a straight horror movie, but it's very close to it. And it's been so far, according to Box Office Mojo, it kicked ass at the box office. But Lottie, were you surprised by that?
No, that thing
Like at
was.
all?
What's the call? Knew what they were doing when they put up at the end of the best selling superhero movie of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it had all the home. First of all, it's following on No Way Home directly, and No Way Home is it's I think as of last I checked, $1.9 billion
Yeah.
box office, the biggest grossing Spider-Man ever, any
Yeah.
Spider-Man, biggest grossing Spider-Man ever, and Doctor Strange of course was front and center in that.
Yep.
Also being directed by uh, the director of the movie that some consider to be the greatest superhero movie of all time, Spider-Man 2, but also the original Spider-Man trilogy, that's Sam Raimi. And of course, it's got all the stars coming back, Benedict Cumberbatch and Chiwetel Ejiofor and Elizabeth Olsen and so forth. So it had all the good hallmarks for that, but it made in its first weekend. Now, last I checked, it made $450 million around worldwide, 185 million in the U.S. Oddly enough, slightly under a few projections that were some were closer to 190, maybe 200 million for the weekend, but easily the biggest opening this year. at the box office.
Hmm.
Bigger than the Batman, which was and again is a huge success. So let's not take anything away from the Batman. But 185 million in the first weekend is pretty fucking good. Like, like there's no doubt about it. It did great, right?
Yeah, yeah, it did good.
Uh, so it's well, as of today, let's see, it's Friday, Saturday. So it's not. Uh, I'm sorry, not 450, but it's 411 million according to Box Office Mojo worldwide. Probably on its way to a billion, I would say. More than likely on its way to a billion. We'll see in the coming weeks. And just it basically it's got the record. It's got a record for in the pandemic era of how well it did at the box office. So, um, on the other hand, its cinema score is a B plus, so that's different. The cinema score is in the bottom, like it's in the bottom three of cinema scores for MCU movies. Now, how do we square this up, Lottie? What's the explanation for this? How can it be making so much money but have such a low audience score?
I'm gonna say this, and this is what I feel from the different people because you know I haven't seen the movie yet, but I plan on seeing it soon. But from the people who have seen the movie and their personalities, and I can just tell this is not a pew 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 movie. Big explosions, things happening, and
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. There's plenty of that. I'll say this much: it is sometimes has a breakneck pace. There's a lot of stuff going. Like there's a lot of like holy shit action at times. The magic is flying, fast and furious. But you'll be happy to know it's not all magic laser guns.
yeah,
Like the magic on display is remember how I was complaining about it at the end of WandaVision? I was like, they just shot magic bullets at each other, right? In this, there's a lot more creative uses of magic to defeat an opponent. So it's
yeah, which is not something that very many people like. Like one of the things that people like. Great example. You will be surprised. The newer generation does not like Kishimoto's Naruto. You know why? Because Kishimoto's Naruto is not pum pum pum. Naruto outsmarts his opponents. The new guy who was doing Naruto made Naruto pew 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 like Dragon Ball.
hmm
Naruto beat one of the last main villain like how he beats them in the old show. He outsmarted him by creating a shadow clone that looked just like the person. There was basically the final villain. The villain wanted a new body, and Naruto created a shadow clone, and the shadow clone did a perfect, disguise. Made it look like that person he wanted the body from. And when he put his essence inside of that body, it was a clone. So Naruto released the clone and killed him.
nice.
And OG Naruto fans like lost their fucking shit like I did. Because that's how Naruto beats his opponents. But the new generation are like, no, we wanted to see Naruto beat him with Baryon mode. It's not how Naruto wins. And that's something that people don't like. Like, for example, remember I told you one of my things I didn't like about the ending of What If is I feel like they nerfed what's his name? They feel like they nerfed Ultron. This man went from basically eating planets. I mean, literally going to the size of a galaxy and biting it to just throwing explosions out. And I'm just like, what this is all he can do? It's,
Right.
and the man got the reality stone. He could literally bend reality if he wanted to. But nope, he just shoots laser beams. And that's what people get off on that. But I'm happy that from what you told me, from what My brothers told me, well, from other people I've seen this show, they're actually making this like it's a magic movie, and some people don't like that.
Yeah, it's and I don't necessarily disagree with the audience score, the B plus audience score. There, I came out of it, I guess, not as enthused about it as I felt like I should have. I think part of that is because the spoilerific nature of the trailers that it came out before. Even Kevin Feige talked about how he wished they didn't show so much. There would have been
Yeah.
more pop for a lot of that stuff if we had just been speculating. And some people were let down. Like literally, I heard people. I was talking to people, over the weekend. They were disappointed that Iron Man wasn't in it. And I'm like, Iron Man was never in it. I could have told y'all that he was not going to be in it. Tom Cruise is Iron Man. Um, but I pretty much we've been saying that before. Like this guy's
Mhm.
not. He's not in it. The person y'all think is Iron Man is not that. Not him. Um, and there, people built up in their mind maybe what they thought this was. And I have to be honest, there's a bit of misleadingness to some of the trailers, and they immediately disabuse you of some of that stuff that you were misled on early on in the film. And for me, a connection to Doctor Strange. The truth is, as much as I like the first Doctor Strange, I don't think I've been like super connected to him as a person or as a character. And excuse me, in this movie, they, it's not. I don't think it connects me as much to the character as I want. Is really, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Um, which isn't to say there's not, and also Sam Raimi's directing isn't for everybody, to be
Yeah.
honest. And in some ways, it's a very well crafted and directed movie. But I think in some places I can see the writing sort of being a little lacking, but also we can see the edits to try to get it cut down to a really more reasonable size. Maybe cutting out some, possibly, too long or extraneous details.
See,
And
now this is another. This goes into another thing. I think superhero movies nowadays got way too much blow. They need to stop. They need to fucking stop. We, you, you could cut out 30 minutes. I feel like almost every superhero movie that's coming out nowadays can cut 30 minutes out of that shit. I mean, really, it's getting fucking ridiculous, and I'm getting sick and tired of having to sit in a theater for 3 hours to watch a damn movie.
right,
Come on now. It really is at this point getting very annoying. This is actually keeping some people from watching certain movies because they're like, I don't want to sit in the theater for three. Like some people are just rather just wait for it to come to streaming service because they can just pause the movie and go do something if
right,
they have to go pee or if they want to make something to eat. Because I think the movie theater, like the people who are designing these movies, need to understand the human body was not meant to sit in one place for more than 2 hours unless you are sleeping. Like, come on, guys,
yeah,
stop this shit. Cut. You could cut 30 to 45 minutes out of these movies. Just stop it. As
yeah,
much as I love the Batman. 30 minutes of that movie could have been cut out.
yeah. Probably, I think so. Well, you'll be happy to know this is only 2 hours and 6 minutes. So you get,
Okay,
yeah.
good, good, good,
It feels
good.
like it. It's very, like I said, it's often at a breakneck pace. Um, there's a lot of good stuff in there. I think it's a good movie. It introduced the new character of America Chavez. I really like her. It reintroduces some characters you already know, or at least a different look at them. And you know the villain is really a really strong villain. Like really, the villain is formidable. Let's just say that. And like the threat's real, and it's a big old chase, and it's really good. So, um, but all that being said, there are some aspects of this movie. Like are saying people are expecting certain things in there. I don't know who was expecting this, but can I do one spoiler to just tell you? you guys, Kang the Conqueror is not in this movie. But apparently there was a question early on about whether or not they should put him in into the movie. That's the thing is like I'm starting to understand that the writing process at Marvel is, oh hey, can we use this person? And Feige does a up, thumbs up or thumbs down, and then they're like, yay, right? And more often than not, probably not. Like with the writer of this movie, who's like, can we get Tom Cruise for Iron Man? And Feige was like, probably not. And so they just didn't, right? Kang apparently, like I said, was maybe considered, but the idea was that he's a big old, he's a giant, he's a giant figure, and you don't want to take away from another villain by having this other giant villain in there. It's kind of like with Joker. You don't put Joker in anything unless he's the main guy, right?
Yeah,
And that's why they didn't put him in the Batman until the very end. You don't put him in there.
yeah.
You don't put Kang in there. So apparently,
I mean,
Kang was not ever really going to appear.
Kang is it's like putting Kang in a movie like this, unless he's the main. Like you said, he has to be the main guy because not only is he probably the main guy, he's probably the main guy of this phase of Marvel.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? He's not just a main villain. He's probably the main all villain for this phase.
Could be. I mean, it's a distinct possibility, but we won't know for sure. We got more than a year before Phase 4 is over. Like, it's hard to believe, but true. Um, Also, I will confirm something that we saw in the trailer anyway. But yes, Patrick Stewart is in fact in the movie as Professor X. I know this is not a surprise to you because we heard his voice.
Nani?
Um,
No, impossible.
well, but I do want to say, first of all, I thought he was great, and I loved it. And second of all, Patrick Stewart is not closing the book on his Professor X character. I honestly, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be straight here. There's no definite plans for him to be back, but he has left the door open. He's literally said, if they want me to come back, I'll totally come back. I could see there, being stories to tell with Professor X. So, hey, look, it's an entire possibility because Kevin Feige literally did. Because you remember we talked about this. He called up Patrick Stewart, was like, "Do you want to come back? We'd love to have you come back." And because that's the sort of person Kevin Feige is. He can pick up the phone and call Patrick Stewart and get that man to get back in that wheelchair. That's, man. I mean, it's a distinct possibility we could see Professor X again. He even said, he's like, you're not going to see me again as Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek again, but you could see me as him again. And I would just say, hurry the hell up because this dude's like 80. So,
Yeah.
get on with it. Make some more. I do want to see that definitely. There's a new character, America Chavez, played by Xochitl Gomez. It's Let me tell you, she's really great. I liked her character a lot in the movie. But she was talking about, hey, I was a big MCU fan before, and like this was an amazing opportunity. And yeah, they have surprised. They haven't told me anything about what's going to happen with my character, but I'm willing and able to come back. Now, Lottie, is there any world in which they don't have her come back for more MCU stuff?
Well, I haven't directly seen the movie, so I can't comment on her performance. But from what you are saying, she definitely killed it. So I can definitely see them bringing her back.
Yeah,
I can definitely see it.
I mean, like we've been talking about the Young Avengers and all that. Like, look at what's going on in the MCU right now. You got Miss Marvel coming up, right? Billy and Tommy, they exist somewhere, in the MCU's, multiverse. You got Kate Bishop, right? I mean, at some point they're going to bring Cassie Lang along. I think in Ant-Man 3. She's older. She's a teenager now. there's no way they don't bring her back. To be in some kind of young, superhero thing. And I don't see any way you introduce such a young person and don't have plans to bring them along to do more cool stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I just can't wait till you see the movie so you'll know what I'm talking. You'll know exactly what I'm
Mm.
talking about. There's where she is at the end of the movie is pretty dope. So, um, but anyway, Multiverse of Madness. It's gonna be a juggernaut. We're gonna check back next week and see what the box office was, but I'm assuming it's gonna be nearing $1 billion. So we shall see. But anyway, Lottie, that's all of our news for this week. That's a ton of news this week, and lots of speculation and discussion. And of course, we could have missed something. If you guys think we missed something, or if you just want have something to say about any of these items or commentary, get down to the comments. Let us know what you have to say. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter, and we'll chop it up. And of course, you can always hit that notification bell to let you know when we drop new content, and hit that subscribe button. Join the Super Not Funny Show family. We really love to have you guys a part of this channel. And I can't do all this by myself. Ladi helps me out a lot with his commentary insight. So, Ladi, where can they reach you on social media?
Oh yeah, you can always find me on my Instagram, Anukiniun. It's ANUKINIHUN. I'm actually working on another project soon that I'm going to upload on my Instagram. So stay tuned for that. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, KeenyHoon25. I'm about to start streaming games again and uploading game footage again. So stay tuned for that, and follow me, leave a like or subscribe.
Yep, you guys go out there, show Lottie some love. All right, all you Fabricant and Fleshbags, this has been the 50th. I can't believe I'm saying that. 50th episode of the Supercast. It's been a heck of a year, man.
Yep.
So, anyway, you guys come back next week for episode 51. We're going to be talking about all sorts of cool and nerdy superhero stuff. Until then, I've been Mo De Coupe, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Lottie. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.